What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So I had started recording this the other day. I got interrupted, so I'm gonna actually pick up this video. It was requested by a lot of you guys. It's called Pelican Bay Prison Horror Story, and it's on the Unguarded podcast. This is episode 1 of the Unguarded podcast. If you like this interview that they're doing, go ahead and subscribe to them and check out whatever they have new. Again, this is a video that a lot of people have asked me to react to. I'm gonna start at 2 minutes and 35 seconds in. The beginning of it, there's really not much being said. Right now, he's about to go into his crime, and he does say, I am guilty of the crime, this and this and that. And he says he's not trying to place blame on anything, something like that. But let's get into it.
One night, I picked my friend up. He calls me and says, "You want to go to a party in UC Davis, a frat party?" So of course, I'm 19 years old. He's 18. I pick him up. He gets in the car, and he had a gun on him. And the gun had no clip or no bullets to it. So when he got in the car, I told him, I was like, "What's up with this gun?" He goes, "Look, at the end of the night, I just got to drop this off to my brother. He doesn't even have a clip. It's not even a working gun." I told him, "Nah, that's fine." So he throws the gun underneath the passenger seat. And off we went to the party. We get to the party and we started drinking very heavily. I remember that night we were drinking a bottle of Jack Daniel. Both of us got very, very, very drunk. And so towards the end of the night, about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Shout out to the homie over here sitting in the corner with asthma. Damn, man. I thought Jason from Friday the 13th was coming. You hear his breathing?
Morning, he comes outside and he walks up to a car and he punches a car and breaks the car window. A couple of the guys leaving the party, there's like 3 of them, they were leaving the party and they're walking away and they make a comment to him. He turns around and makes a comment right back to them. They're walking away and we're drunk and aggressive and those guys, they were in the right because we were obnoxious. And so they leave, we see their car and the car drives off and leaves. 10 minutes later, that car comes back and they're like about 100 yards away from us and we see them reverse park. So my friend goes, "Man, I think they want a problem with us." So he runs over there. So I was standing right next to my car door's open. I jump in my car, I head over there and I grab the gun. The biggest mistake I ever made in my life. California law is in the commission of any crime. If you use a weapon, whether it's a workable weapon or not, that's called the gun enhancement. So at the end of that day, we were both arrested and we were both charged with armed robbery, 2nd degree. I took the guy's cell phone. My friend took the guy's wallet. No one was seriously injured, but it didn't matter. So I was facing 2 counts of gun enhancement, which is automatic 10 years per count. Armed robbery carries 2, 3, and 5. I was facing terrorist threats, telling someone that, shut the fuck up, I'm gonna fuck you up. That automatically, 2, 3, and 5 years. So I was facing like 40 years in total charges that they had. I wasn't very familiar with the law system, so I bailed out and I fought my case out on bail for a while, 3 years approximately, and he kept pissing off the DA that I kept firing my attorney and hiring a new one, trying to prolong it as much as I could because they kept throwing deals at me, 8 years and 9 years, and someone who has never been to prison, I just couldn't see myself serving that much time in prison.
And I saw it a lot in prison. I saw it a lot in the county fighting my case. People would be offered deals, right? And they would wind up saying, "Nah, I'm not taking that deal." And they would wind up with usually double what the deal was. Or a life sentence I saw in some cases. I remember a guy fighting a murder in the county with me. The dude killed a bum, a straight homeless person. Him and his friends stomped him out, killed him, and then actually tried to rob a homeless dude. I couldn't stand that dude. They offered him 12 years. He said no. I said, "Man, there's a dead man involved. There's a dead body. You better take that 12." He said no. We were in Wasco together. He showed up after me. You could see the stress in him as soon as we walked through the door. He came up to me. He's like, "Hey, they gave me life." I said, "Good. You should have took the 12. I just had zero respect for killing a homeless person.
I had heard nothing but, horrible stories about prison. So eventually they got me, right? And they threw me in county jail and I ended up going to trial. I lost my trial, and in trial they convicted me of a gun enhancement, terrorist threat, armed robbery. I ended up getting 16 years and 4 months, and I'm in a county jail at this point, right? And the day that I got convicted, I never forget it. The judge said 16 years and 4 months, and I'm sitting there. My attorney's sitting next to me. He leans over, he taps me. He goes, "Look, you're gonna have a long journey ahead of you. Only advice that I could give you is that one of our clients went to prison 45 days before you, and we got a phone call this morning that he was murdered in prison, and so we're asking you."
I don't believe it. I don't know why an attorney would tell their client that, but also he's in court all day with that attorney, right? The attorney's in court all day. It was his day of his sentencing or whatever. I highly doubt there was a phone call that came in that morning. And but like I said, I've seen some of this video already, and there's a lot for me to talk about.
Like, he was asking me if it's possible for me to survive prison. He was like, "Do whatever you got to do to survive prison and come home to your family," you know. And so that day I made a promise to myself that no matter what, I wasn't going to let anyone murder me in prison or kill me in prison. So,
and that's all it takes, you know. There's a lesson right there for you guys. If you don't want to die, just make a promise to yourself, and nobody can do anything to you. Wow, this dude,
you know, off I went to prison. One of the first prisons that I actually hit was Pelican Bay. In Pelican Bay, when I first got there, you know, the way that they transport you on the bus.
So this is one of the things I have a serious problem with, okay? Serious problem. He said he was convicted of second-degree attempted robbery or second-degree robbery, whatever it was, right? And he got a 16-year term. Okay. I need to understand how a person with a 16-year term for an attempted robbery or a robbery, whatever, how they got not just level 4 points, but that it was deemed that he's gonna fit level 4 180 criteria. The level 4 180s are the yards you go to when you're coming out of the shoe. Some people do start there. It's not unheard of. But I just have a problem understanding how someone with no criminal history, no YA, like, I don't know. I don't see how somebody with his crime fits level 4 180 criteria.
They handcuff you from your stomach, so your hands are stuck into a little box, and they handcuff your feet. I remember getting off the bus, and I was so intimidated by this place, right? I had heard all the horrible stories about Pelican Bay. Right. When I got off the bus, there's a line of COs that welcome you, and they basically strip you out. I mean, they check you for any contraband, and then they unhandcuff you. So the CO goes, "Hey, man, do me a favor, stand right here, look straight." And naturally, because I was in a new prison and I didn't know what kind of place it was, I'm looking around. So he grabs me by my neck. He goes, "Something wrong with your neck, boy?" I was like, "No, sir." He goes, "Then look fucking straight."
Oh, yeah.
I realized, I was like, man, I was like, you know what? This is going to be one of those experiences that I'm going to go through, right? So I have
to... And this was directly when you were done from county jail?
I was county jail. I went
to straight to prison.
I went straight to prison. I went to
and the worst one of all of them, too, though.
Yeah,
right?
so I went to reception
Bay.
center. I went to a reception center, and from reception center, they transport you. You spend a couple months in reception center, and then they transport you to, the place that you're going to be. So the way that California prisons work, they go from 1 through 4 levels, right? Level 4 being the most maximum security, all the murderers, anyone doing life without, and anyone who's a screw up, and all the shot callers are in Pelican Bay.
Let's listen to that again. Look.
Reception center. I went to a reception center, and from reception center they transport you. You spend a couple months in reception center, and then they transport you to the place that you're gonna be. So the way that California prisons work, they go from 1 through 4 levels, right? Level 4 being the most maximum security, all the murderers, anyone doing life without, and anyone who's a screw up, and all the shot callers are in Pelican Bay.
So how did he wind up there? I see why a lot of people wanted me to react to this. You know, he could have gone there. I'm not saying he. I just don't understand how he fit the criteria. You know, he broke it down. Who's there on those yards? And then here he comes.
For every single gang, right? Yeah. So I had known this about Pelican Bay doing time, so I already knew that.
I've watched so many documentaries growing up on Pelican Bay, like on YouTube and different TV shows, and so seeing him getting in there, it was fucking crazy. I'm like, damn, they sent him Pelican Bay, right?
It's a notoriously known prison.
So basically, when I got to that prison, right, and right when they got me off the bus, you go to intake, right? And at intake, you're in a little cage. It's the size of a phone booth, but make it smaller. It's a cage, and they throw you in there, and you cannot sit down. So you're standing on your feet for.
So this is completely foreign to me what he's talking about. I went to Pelican Bay 4 times. Okay. There's 2 places you're gonna go to when you get off the bus. If you are going to the main line, the yard. Put it like this: if you're not going to the shoe, you go to R&R, right? R&R, they're gonna park, they're gonna pull you out, boom. They're gonna walk you in, strip you out. They're gonna get people in a row in front of a big desk, right? SEALs are behind it. They're gonna strip you out. They're gonna put you in a tank, a holding tank, right? In that tank, they can hold. You know, there's several tanks in R&R. They can, the big ones, there's like 2 that are big and then other ones that are smaller. The big ones can hold about 20 people each, and then the smaller ones can hold 10, no problem, right? There's a toilet in there with the sink attached the way they are. There's concrete benches against the wall. So I don't know where this dude was at. Secondly, if you're going to the shoe, you're coming from ADSEG, an adverse transfer from ADSEG in whatever prison, getting sent to the shoe in Pelican Bay. The bus is going to pull up in front of the shoe. The SEALs are going to come out, line up in front of the shoe. They're going to call you out one at a time. Same thing. They're going to escort you in. There, they would put you in, they may put you in visiting. Visiting is not what you think about in movies. It's just a little cell. But there's a seat, there's a stool there. And then there's a place to rest your arms because you would have a visitor in front of you. So where this guy is, that he's that high power that they put him in an individual cage, they do have those. But coming off of a bus, I don't know why they would single him out and put him in a cage. So let's see if he explains why they felt he was that high power out of everybody on the bus.
About 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. You cannot sit down. You're just on your feet. So the CO comes over. He's like, look, man, we don't have any beds available for you.
Hold on.
If you sign this paper allowing us to throw you in the shoe, we'll give you a bed tomorrow. You're just
okay. So for those of you that have never been to prison, this sounds plausible, right? It sounds like, probably to your ears, it sounds like it's something that could really happen. But understand this: for anybody who has actually been to prison, especially Pelican Bay, I'm gonna go back to the first part of what he said. He's leaving the reception center, and it has to be cleared through Sacramento and all this stuff to move this guy from the cell he's in whatever reception center he's from, move him all the way across the state to the farthest prison in the state. Allegedly, this is where he went, and there's no bed. It doesn't work like that. CDC is not going to move you unless there's a bed for you. Now, if there's something that's going on, what they will do is they will give you a mattress, put you back in that tank, and there'll be a bunch of people from that bus that'll be laying all over the floor, the benches, whatever, and you're going to sleep there. But there's no bunk for you. I've never heard of that. Secondly, the shoe. Now, this is a first-time offender. This is a guy who hasn't committed any rules violations, and they're going to house him in the most expensive cells in the California State prison system. They're really going to... So I'm supposed to believe that The cells that are the most precious to the CDC that need to be open, if there's an opening, leave that open for the dude that's gonna kill his cellie. I don't, or any other murder or any other something very serious, a dude that hit a cop or whatever it is. That's what those cells are for. Not a guy coming off a bus that's never broken a rule. Secondly, if he gets put back there in the shoe and something happens to him, somebody, he gets in a, somebody doesn't like the way he looked, whatever. We're just making up scenarios right now. And they hit him with a spear through the door because it's a little cheese grater doors. Let's say they hit him with a spear. Or they call him over and he's dumb enough to put his face against the thing like, hey, what's up? And they hit him in the eye or the face with something. That's a lawsuit. He doesn't belong in the shoe. The CDC has been sued so many times by so many people. They're not going to slip up like that, especially Pelican Bay. So that's my 2 cents. None of this to me sounds believable. But let's hear a story.
Just gonna go over there for one night. I was like, look, CEO, I'm just thirsty. I just want some water. He was like, you'll get some water and a bed. But just sign this paper right here, allowing us to throw you in the SHU. The SHU is a security housing unit where they validate all the gang members, anyone who stabbed somebody, killed somebody, murdered somebody.
You see how he knows who goes to Pelican Bay, but yet he was supposedly sent. He knows who goes to the SHU, but he was housed there because there's no... This guy's got to have the worst luck in the world, and yet the best because he's back on the streets. He survived it.
Highest of the highest are housed in Pelican Bay SHU.
Isn't the shoe like a room where it's like super dark, no windows, no nothing?
Right. And so I was like, you know what?
He avoided that. Why would he avoid answering that? Because he didn't know what it looked like, probably, right? Let's just look at his body language when he's asked that question.
And a bed. But just sign this paper right here, allowing us to throw you in the SHU. The SHU is a security housing unit where they validate all the gang members, anyone who stabbed somebody, killed somebody, murdered somebody. The highest of the highest are housed in Pelican Bay SHU.
Isn't the SHU like a room where it's like super dark, no windows, no nothing?
Right. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go there for one night,
No answer. There's no hole like that. Okay. The Pelican Bay, you go into the pod, there's no windows. It's white walls. Inside the cell and in the little pod, there's a stairway. When you walk in, first thing you see is a stairway. There's a door kind of underneath the stairs, a little bit to the right or left, depending on where you're at. And there's going to be 4 cells on the bottom and 4 cells on the top. There's a shower on each end of the tier. And that's about it. But it's lit. It's not dark. It is cold, but it's not dark. Again, lawsuits have made sure, one thing about the United States, all those people that wish that they were communists and all that, go to one of their cells. You'll be begging to come to the United States and be housed over here.
It's all right. So I sign this paper and I go to Pelican Bay SHU, right? No property, no visits, no phone calls. When I get there, instantly, the inmates that were next door to me, they get on the vent and they're like, hey, how you doing, man? What's your name? I was like, I introduced myself. They introduced themselves to me and they're like, hey, you got your paperwork with you? I was like, nah, I just came off the bus. They didn't give me none of my paperwork.
Okay, hold on.
He was like, so you don't have any paperwork. That's how they check you. They basically, you want to see your 128G, which your counselor gives you, and it has your whole record and your whole history of
informational chrono.
Informational chrono, that what you're in there for, to make sure.
Okay, so never, ever have I heard of anything like that. Excuse me. What would have happened, in my experience, again, I was in the SHU 4 different times. Okay, in my experience, this is what is exactly what would have happened. Excuse me. He would have came in. Everybody's gonna be on their door. They want to see who's coming in. Now, he doesn't. You can't really tell his nationality off the top. I mean, you could take a guess, right? But he would have went to his cell. When the doors closed, cops are gone, whatever. They would have got in the vent. They would have said, hey, excuse me, what's your name, homie? Like he said, he would have said. And then would have said, where are you from? And then he would have said, I don't bang, I'm another. Because he already said he was another, right? And I think it's in the first part I cut out. So he would have said, I'm another. Unless it was an other in that cell or in the vent, right? The next thing would have been, all right, Holmes, we'll let your people know you're here. That would have been it. If it's not your people, they don't ask you for your paperwork. They get at your people and say, one of your homies is here, and then they'll let him check you out, and then he will co-sign and say, nah, he's good. From everything I see, he's good. You know, that's what would have happened. Pelican Bay shoe is, but anyways, you know, this is his story, but there's a lot of loopholes that I know a lot of people that have been to prison will hear this story and be like, no way. And I see why a lot of people have asked. It's a long one. It's almost an hour long. I'm not going to do the whole hour, but we'll get a little bit in today. And if you guys want, we'll you know, maybe we'll make this a 3-part series. Because I know with my talking, and I'm talking a lot on this one, it could wind up being very long.
So they check that to make sure that you're not a rapist, child molester, a snitch, or anything like that, right? So I was like, I don't have that, you know, because I haven't gotten my property. So they were like, all right, well, you know, we're not going to talk to you. Basically, we're cutting you off until you have your paperwork.
Indeed.
So I sat there for 45 days, no communication with anyone, 24 hours a day, locked down in Pelican Bay.
See, this is the thing, the problem that I have. When people, they use this is why people in the media believe it, and it's in Hollywood, and then people regurgitate it. He was not in his cell for 24 hours a day. He was in his cell probably 22 and a half hours. You're allowed an hour and a half on the yard, unless they changed it to an hour. You still get an hour a day on the yard. The yard in Pelican Bay Shoe is basically another cell, but it's about the size of 2 of the cells, right? 2 or 3 of the, about 2 cells. And it's right there in the pod. Like I said, when you come in, you'll see a stairwell, and then you'll see a door. It's the yard door. That slides open, you go out there. Before you go out, you let your neighbor know, hey, homie, I only plan on being out there about 45 minutes. At 40 minutes, your neighbor who's next on the yard is going to call you, hey, homie, whatever your name is. You say, what's up? Hey, you got 5 minutes. Okay, gracias. You know, you start, you know, finishing up whatever you're doing on the yard. That neighbor that's going to be on the yard next after you is going to call up to the tower after 5 minutes and say, hey, yard recall. He's going to go in. I mean, you're going to go in. That's the way to. So all this 24-hour, they try to make it sound way worse than it is. It's already bad enough. If you're in there, it's bad enough. But this is just, when I listen, this is just more for my ears to say he wasn't back there. He didn't want to answer the question of what it looked like. And now he's talking about being slammed down 24 hours a day. These are just, you know, for my ears, these are things that it's just like, I really don't believe he was back there in the shoe.
And I'm thinking, when are they going to release me from here? They said it was one day, and every day the CO walks by, and I'm asking, when am I leaving? We don't know.
But one day in the shoe is like feeling like a whole week, right?
I mean, it's so depressing, right? Like, it was so bad. It was so bad. I was reading the mustard packet off the lunches because I had nothing to read. I would just read that over and over and over, trying to keep my sanity. And so, anyways, I remember it. It was Saturday night at around like 10 o'clock. The CO comes to my door and he kicks my door. I wake up. He goes, "Hey man, they found a cell for you. Are you ready to?"
I've never heard of a cell move at 10 o'clock at night. Not like that. Not to put you in a... Why? They can just do it in the morning when everybody's there. You know, I don't know. This is just another one. 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday. He doesn't have any property, so he doesn't have a clock. You know, the clock is on your TV. I believe it's like channel 14. Channel 14, I think it's 14. You put it on channel 14, it's a blue screen. It has a clock in the upper right on your TV, and they're playing music from Humboldt State University. I don't know how he would know what time it is, but to be moved at 10 o'clock at night, that just sounds, I mean, I don't know.
Leave, I was like, man, you have no idea. So I'm going to a regular yard, right? And so they come grab me from there and they transport me over to a yard in Pelican Bay, which is level 4, level 4 prison yard. It's a very serious yard. It's a 180 design. So I ended up going into this building, and the lady goes, "Hey man, the cell that you're going into," the CO, she goes, "The cell that you're going into is full of blood right now. So we're gonna need you to clean that cell. We're gonna give you all the chemicals that you want."
The fuck? They're
I
gonna
guess
make you clean that.
Yes,
shit.
I guess.
I feel like this.
So I was just calculating in my head. If I remember right, 10 o'clock is first watch. The beginning of first watch, shift change. No, they don't move people on first watch. Now, as far as he's going to be going into a cell that's full of blood, that's a crime scene. You are never going to be put into a cell that was an active crime scene that was just apparently they cleared to be filled. So what they do is they get porters that work in medical, and they give them this half-ass training. And if the cell needed to be cleaned, one of them would have been sent down to do it. He would have been in an all-white jumpsuit with a mask over the face and all the cleaning supplies, gloves, everything, because of Hep C, Hep A, Hep B, HIV. They would never allow someone to go in a cell full of blood, clean it up, and possibly have there a chance of possibly catching one of those diseases, because it can turn around and they can sue the state for really good money. So there's just a lot of this. I don't know. Maybe somebody that was there with them could say, yeah, he came in on first watch, got moved out of the shoe on first watch, and then went and cleaned a bloody cell.
This is all like intimidation before he's going in. They're trying to like mentally fuck with him.
Right.
Throw him in
Why?
the shoe.
Why are they mentally? Who is he? Like this, I mean, hey, shout out to Unguarded Podcast, but you should really ask yourself when you're listening to what he's saying and you're listening to him say that Pelican Bay is full of the worst of the worst, why is this guy the one that they're trying to mindfuck? I'd like to know.
I get him out, throw him in a room that's like bloody as fuck, and make him clean it.
Oh yeah,
So
right.
then-
That
so-
makes with them not caring. They don't
Right.
care.
So, anyways, I asked them what happened in the cell. They're like, look, one cellie and another cellie, they get into a fight, and one ended up murdering his cellie in the cell, and so there's blood everywhere. So they give me chemicals and they give me gloves, and I put the gloves on. I go inside, and there was blood everywhere. So I started cleaning the cell. They kept giving me towels, and I kept cleaning it and putting cell block on it. They give me a whole gallon of cell block, so I'm cleaning it. I clean the cell really good. So my first night, I have my mattress, so I just unroll my mattress, right? And I put, a sheet on it, and I lay down on my mattress, and I'm like tossing and turning. I'm like, what's up with this mattress? I mean, the mattresses are really thin in prison, period. And so anything inside of it, you're going to feel. So I kept feeling something inside this mattress, so I woke up, and I took my sheet off, and I seen a little hole on the side of the mattress. I was like, what? That's really unusual. So I stick my hand in the mattress, and I feel a wire. When I pulled it, it was a big old shank inside there. So me being new to prison, I didn't know what to do. So I'm thinking, I don't have no property on my shelf.
I just got done getting stabbed in there, and you find the fucking shank.
And I find the murder weapon, right? And I'm like,
Oh man, So there's a hole in the mattress, and then there's a wire connected to a bone crusher, and the COs missed it. See, when there's an incident like that, hold on, let's get to even before that. So one guy kills the other guy in the cell. Okay, there's blood everywhere. After he kills him, he's able to apparently clean off the weapon, right? Not fish it down the tier to his homies to get rid of. Not break it, bend it, whatever he has to do to get rid of it himself. Not the things that convicts would normally do. No. He's going to clean it and put it in the mattress. The least responsible CO that has to respond to that is going to get the metal detector, the handheld metal detector, and wand that mattress. as well as the other mattress. More than likely what they're going to do is they're going to roll that mattress up, put it on a cart, send it over to R&R, and put it through the x-ray machine. We all know that. That's why if you do something in your cell and you are able to get rid of the piece, you get it out of the cell. You're never going to put it in a mattress. But hey, Hollywood, here comes a new script for you guys.
I'm like, man, I don't want this to be in here, right? So what I did was I just put it against the wall and I started bending it where it broke into two pieces. And then finally when I was done, I threw it in the toilet and I flushed it. The next day, you had some inmates that came up to the door. They were like, hey, man, welcome, this and that. You came over here. That's good, we knew you were in the shoe and we tried to pull you to the cell.
Now, I want to laugh at it, right? But it's possible that when he got off the bus with all the other guys that apparently weren't as dangerous as him, didn't have to be put in a stand-up cage, and didn't have to get sent to the shoe. It's possible that there was another other or someone else that's, hey, homie, where they housing you? And he told him back, oh, well, I signed a paper to go to the shoe, homie. I would have told her, what you mean I'm going to sign up to go to the shoe? Even though I don't believe it, like, who does that? No, I'm not signing that. Send me to a cell. I'm not signing that. But instead, of course, they'll be like, hey, this old idiot over here signed a chrono to go to the shoe rather than come over here and eat sopas and everything, right? So, yeah, that's possible, but it's crazy.
By the way, there's a knife inside that mattress. Can we grab it? I was like, I broke it. I broke it last night. I threw.
Okay, again, this goes against common procedures as far as convicts are concerned. They don't know this guy, right? I mean, obviously, he like I said, he says he's another, so it would have been some others that would have hollered at him, right? But we don't know who killed. See, he didn't say what race it was. So if it wasn't his race, it's hard for me to believe that another race would have got at the others and said, hey, man, look, we got that murder weapon still in there. Why would they know, right? How would they know? But, can you get at your homie to give us that? Nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows if he can be trusted, right? He just got there. Nah, what would have happened would have been like, hey, homie, look, just so you know, we had already got at the Juras. You could be lying. Hey, look, we already got at the cops, right? We had been trying to get in this cell for like a month already, homie, and but we got at the Juras, so we're gonna be moving over here. Our cell's all hooked up, hey, it's all Bonnaroo, but we need to get over here. And they move in the cell, and then they handle the weapon issue on their own. You don't go up to somebody you don't know and say, hey, man, the murder weapon, we need that from you. Doesn't work like that.
Threw it away. I was like, I didn't want to be in here with you. He said, what do you mean you threw the knife away? I was like, I threw the knife away. They were like, you're never supposed to do that. He's like, that's an automatic DP. I was like, what's a DP? They were like, you get disciplined. I was like, okay. They were like, well, we're going to try to figure out how we're going to discipline you, but you got basically a DP coming, a discipline coming. So I was like, okay. So I'm sitting in my cell. Like later on that day, I see two inmates come in front of my cell, right? And they're standing there in front of my cell. I'm like, who are these dudes? So I get up. And I go up to the door, and they're waiting for my door to open. They told the cop already opened this door. We're gonna DP somebody. So I'm like, what's up with y'all? And they were like, we're coming in there. They're like, look, we just telling you, just.
So they told the cop they were gonna DP someone. Now, what did they do? Yell it from the front of the cell all the way across for everybody to hear? And then that cop was like, okay, well, I mean, you said you're going to just fist fight him. I'll go ahead and let you in. They don't know what your intentions are. You could have a strap. Easiest place to kill him is in the cell. So, I know there's going to be some people that will be like, you think you know everything. I was there. I don't know everything, but I was there. And I know everything that I'm hearing is the exact opposite of what I saw while I was there.
Don't swing back. You don't swing back, it's going to be quick. We're going to come in there, put a few, punch you a few times, and then we're going to come out. I was like, nope. That's not happening because I'm a man. I'm not going to let another man put hands on me. I'm going to defend myself. I'm not going to go out there and try to look for problems. But if someone comes, I'm going to defend myself no matter what. Right. So the door opens and these two dudes rush in there and I just go at it with these guys, right? We're fighting. And so I get all messed up, right? They get up and they leave and they're like, look, don't come out of your cell. You come out of your cell, the COs might see, so you're staying in your cell. You're not coming out. I was like, I don't have any.
But the COs cleared it, eh? The COs cleared it. Don't worry about it. Just come out. Lumpy lump.
Food, anything in the cell. So, you know, there's no way I could go out. So I just sat in that cell for about 3 days, you know, and until my bruises healed up a little bit. And then, you know, past that point, I started coming out to yard again, you know, and I started going out to yard. So I remember my first yard I go out to, and I'm really confused. You know, OG comes over. He's like, look, I'm going to show you how the yard is broken down. That's the Mexicans. That's the Woods. That's the Bloods, that's the Crips, and this is where others hang out at. You do not cross over these areas. You do, it's an automatic riot. You just don't do any of those things. I was like, all right. I was like, well, I just want to work out. Can I run around the track? He was like, yeah, you can run around the track. So I started running around the track, right? And as I'm running, I hear an alarm. I look over, and it's the Mexicans. They jump on one of their own, and they're stabbing this guy in the face, and the guy's running. But the way that direction he was running right towards me. So I'm like, okay, and he runs, and he falls on his face because two guys are chasing him with a knife. He falls on his face, and you know, about 10 yards away from me, and they get on top of him, they're hitting him, and then the guy gets a knife and he throws it, and one of his friends grabs the knife and runs the other way before the cops could get there, and they bury the knife. So they come over there and they bring the stretcher out and they take this guy out, and you know, he's getting airlifted out of there. I mean, he had it.
Where do they get? How are all these guys popping up on YouTube? So, two dudes are moving on one guy. He's running across the yard. The alarm's off. The cops are watching him. They get the knife to their homie, and their homie is able to bury it, right? We're going to get to the good part, but let's see what else he's saying.
Yeah, blood coming from his face. I mean, when you're getting stabbed in the face, at that point, you're not just being disciplined, or you're not being, they're trying to kill you.
No. What's vital in your face? Your eyes, but the chest and the back, the left armpit, that's when they're trying to kill you. The face? Feel your face. What do you feel? Bone. Teeth. Bone. They're trying to kill you because they hit you in the face. And they were both hitting him in the face. Doesn't even make sense. Yeah, you hit a person in the eye, but it's hard to hit somebody in the eye. And you know he's going to be covering up. He's going to cover his face up. And he's going to open up. Right? So, I don't know.
Right, period. So they were trying to kill this man.
Yeah.
So the cops come and they're like, where's the knife? I don't know. He was like, you're the closest person here. We took the two guys that were doing the stabbing and the guy that left, and you're the closest one to him.
So let's go ahead and debunk this part of the story. First of all, how many of you guys have seen the Pelican Bay riot on YouTube? How many of you guys have seen other riots and incidents on YouTube from Pelican Bay? See, I've already said it in several videos, but in case you guys haven't seen them, I'll say it here. On the yard in Pelican Bay, there are 17 cameras. There might even be 18. 17 cameras on the yard. There's 2 on each building. There's 8 buildings. Then there's 1 underneath the main tower. That one actually moves around. The other ones are all stationary. And they all point at a section of the yard so that the entire yard can be videotaped. The one under Central Tower, that's the one that the ISU, aka Goon Squad, that they use. And they can actually move it around. And that's to target people they're actually investigating, right? I believe I don't know how long before yard comes out, they tell the COs in the towers to turn on the cameras. Then they release all the convicts to the yard. I've personally been on the yard on a lot of hits on B yard. I was on A yard briefly. But a lot of hits I've seen go down. One thing that never fails is when the whole yard is down, the sergeant will get on his mic and he'll say, review the tapes. It'll take a little while because they just fast forward, till that time period. They know what time it is. They know around what time the incident happened. Boom, they fast forward to that. Then the cops are watching with binoculars. And they're going to say, it's this one over here. And it's that one. Those are the two hitters. They know exactly what happened. And if somebody would have got the piece and buried it, they would have said, and this one over here buried it. This didn't happen the way he's saying, of course. But this wouldn't happen, this interaction. Where's the knife? Well, you're the closest one to it. No, review the tapes. Then they come and they cuff the guys up. It's crazy.
And where's the knife? I was like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Like, strip out. So in front of everybody in the rain, they strip you out naked. They go through all my stuff. They go escort me to my cell. They search my cell. There's nothing there. And I go to sleep. 2 o'clock in the morning that night, I'm sleeping, and I hear a bunch of cops outside my door. I'm like, I wake up, and they're like, we're coming in there. Get down. I'm like, what's going on? So they handcuff me again. They put me in the day room area, and they go in there and they search my cell, tear my mattress up, look everywhere. They're looking for this knife. And so I don't have no knife for them. So, that situation passed, right? So now it's been a couple months. I'm getting used to the yard. I'm like, all right, I could do this as long as I stay away from people and follow the rules of the prison. Right. Every prison, they have rules in prison. I was like, as long as I follow the rules, I'll be all right. Just stay out the way, and I could just do this. So I go out to yard one day, and I didn't know that things were going on. There was a lot of drama going on between the others and the Southsiders. One of the others had called one of the Southsiders the night before a wetback, and so the next day when he woke up and he sobered up because he was drunk, he tried to offer him $200 and they felt disrespected. I didn't know any of this was going on. I'm just out working.
I kind of feel like I should just save this for another one because I don't see how that term was thrown out and it didn't immediately jump. Any group, I don't care what group it is, if there's a racial slur thrown at them on the yard, it goes. You don't wait a day and wait to see if somebody's going to offer you some chump change to be called something like that. You know what? I think I'm gonna end that here, and we're gonna start off on this little weird ass story he just started right now. If you guys want a part 2, we'll start off there. This video is already let's see, I started 2 minutes, so it's about almost 15 minutes of actual video, and then with my talking, who knows how long it is. But I want to try to make sure I get it out to you guys tonight. So do me a favor, if you like the video, let me know. If you want to see a part 2, let me know. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out.